I legitimately understand. I legitimately understand why parents are having a tough time when their kids hit teenage years. Independence is something that has to be earned, but in the process of earning it, you have to make independence be understood as valued. You can't allow independence to mean one thing to one person and another thing to another person. So it really is a tough game. It's tough when you try to break down what independence means and what they think it means as it pertains to when you relate that information to a teenager. When you explain to a teenager what independence is, you almost have to be careful because you want to lead with the fact that independence is a privilege. Yes, we live in the land of the free and the home of the brave, but to be honest with you, freedom ain't free. And I remember when I would hear that, when I did hear it, I had disdain for it because it was typically said by like over patriotic white dudes. Um, so it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. But when I stripped away the emotion that the words evoked in me, it made sense as a parent saying freedom isn't free. One of the biggest messages that I taught my child when we began to discuss the venturing out into the world aspect of life, I explained to her that you have to prove what you can do with independence before somebody just gives it to you. And I think that's a message that most parents want to give to their teenagers like that, but the way that they're met with how independence is to be employed leaves the tension different than, because when there's tension, it's hard, it's very difficult to convey a succinct message when there's tension. It's hard. Some of the best leaders struggle to do it. So when you say to a child who's coming at you like, how come I can't blah 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 blah, and it's coming full force in that teenage loud aggression, but not aggression, just they don't know how to temper their voices when they get passionate slash mad slash needy. Like it just culminates into a loud booming of what is the desires are. And it's hard to keep your composure in that moment. It's hard to say to a kid in that moment, freedom isn't free. You have to show what you can do with independence before somebody just gives it to you. Freedom is not free. You have to show and prove what you can do with independence before somebody just willingly gives it to you. And a lot of the times, teenagers believe, well, I get good grades, well, I don't do this and I don't do that. And that's well and good. But what teenagers need to understand is it's not about the don't do's, it's about the do do's. What do you do that makes me hesitant to allow this? What have you said that makes me think if you're in this situation, you'll respond like that? Parents to teenagers, if you have teenagers, please show them this. The reason we slow you down is because you're not prepared or as prepared as you think you are for every situation that's on the outside of that door. Because life gets much different from when it translates from a phone screen to when it's breathing breath in your face. That's a different engagement. So, as a teenager, it'll do you well to allow yourself to be slowed down by your parents because that extra second that you take to get information that you didn't know just may be the reason you come back home to them tonight to live another day of life, to go through the same instruction again the next day. You might know things You might know how things, but you don't know things who, what, when, where, why, and how things. That's what our job is to you, teenager. And that's all we're trying to convey. If you slow down long enough to hear that, you would get that message too. We're just trying to get a second of your time so we can give you that tidbit of information. And if we don't feel like it's too much to ask. Oh, what a day, what a day. That's the crazy thing. Like nobody tells you that being an authority comes with stuff.